How do you feel like the meetings went today?
Well, it's impossible to know. We've all done a lot of meetings in Hollywood too. You leave and you think, my God, they love me, they heard everything I said, and they're going to give me a job tomorrow morning. So we went into rooms where they were receptive, because we made great points about how the fiscal return on investment, but also the kind of return for the community, and in every way how the arts benefit society in general and the individuals who take part. Whether that will translate to them voting to keep this organization that's been around and done such magnificent work, we don't know. It's a very tumultuous time in Hollywood. In Washington. And every organization and every institution is under threat. But this is such a minuscule budget, and it has such a huge bang for its buck. It would seem to be insane to threaten it or do away with it, but there are more insane things going on.
You've done this before, coming here to Washington to advocate for funding for the National Endowment for the Arts. How did your experience under this administration compare to past experiences you've had here?
Well, I've been here when President Obama was in charge, when President Biden was in charge. I was here during the first Trump administration, and there's never been a time when so many people have lost their jobs, when even in the Republican rooms, people were so uncertain about what their own party's policy and stand would be on things. So you can feel the insecurity and the uncertainty in the air. What people's mission is changed from room to room. We were told very clearly in one room the most important, the most effective way we could advocate by telling Republicans what it was the money was spent on, that it was for things that they would agree with, and that was endorsing the values and traditions that they would support. But in the next room we were told, make sure that people understand that you raise $9 for every dollar of public subsidy. So they're not even clear on what it is that they stand for. It's a very different and scary time in the world, and it's a very different and scary time inside the bubble that we're in, where we're trying to keep arts funding going.
What's your biggest takeaway from today?
Well, the biggest takeaway is you do what you can do. We're all people who are using our privilege, I guess, and our access to advocate as best we can, and then you have to let go of the results, because otherwise you drive yourself mad.
And why is now such an important time to advocate for funding for the National Endowment for the Arts?
Well, now is not any more important time than previously. It's just that it's never been so under threat. 2 years ago and a year ago, there was an amendment proposed to zero out the budget entirely. It was massively defeated with the help of many Republicans, up to 90 Republicans, I think 89 Republicans. They were not under orders from the White House. There is a climate at the moment, whatever order comes from the White House, everybody falls in line because they're scared they're going to be primaried out of their job. So the reason it's important now is it's never been as under threat.
And I have to ask, we're here in Washington, D.C., but we are the Hollywood Reporter, and the White Lotus was all anybody was talking about for the weeks that it was airing. What was the fan response to the finale like for you?
Well, the fan response is still going on. People keep coming up to me saying, I just saw the last episode yesterday. Of course, it was seen by an awful lot of people on HBO, but it's being seen by an awful lot more people on Max in this country and around the world. So the response is still going on. And I tell you what, actually, most people have said to me, they want to follow up. They want to follow the Ratliff family. I think they want to see Victoria get her first job, where she has to get her hands dirty. And they want to know whether I think I'm going to get a pardon from my friend the president.
And for you, you're very busy right now. You also have another movie coming out next month, right?
2 movies coming out in the next 2 weeks, and one coming out in England, a different one. So I had 3 films coming out. I'm trying to be honorable and ethical and publicize them all, and split my time like a good parent. I like them all for very different reasons. There's 2 coming out in America. One's called Words of War. It's appropriate that it's the White House Correspondents' Dinner tomorrow night, because it celebrates a spectacularly powerful woman, Anna Politkovskaya, who was a journalist, who was the first and maybe the only person who spoke the truth to Putin, about Putin, to the Russian people, and told them that they had elected a gangster and that he'd made up the reasons to invade Chechnya, that she went there and she found mass graves and mass rape, and that things were being done in their name, and she lost her life for the privilege. And then there's a very different film called Juliet and Romeo, which is an original musical based on the source material for Romeo and Juliet, meaning the story is different, with some spectacular singers in it and original songs. And the great news for the public is that I don't sing in it.
And I also have to ask, because you brought it up, could we see you come back in a future episode or future season of The White Lotus? Could we get more of the Ratliff family?
If you're asking me, would I come back if Mike White wrote me a part? I would act Mike White's shopping list in Dinner Theatre. So it's up to Mike, and I think he's probably more original than revisiting the Ratliff family, but if he wants to, I think it's a terrific idea.